I'm Shannon.
And I'm Lisa.
And KK's here too. And you're listening to Blacktivities,
A celebration of all things Black.
Black culture, Black history,
Black perspectives, and Black panache.
Celebrating our Blackness doesn't mean exclusion.
Everybody's invited, but you gotta come in and have a seat.
So let the Blacktivities begin. What up, y'all? I'm Shannon, and we also have Lisa and Miss KK. All right, y'all. So what's a phrase that you remember hearing like your mama or your daddy tell you all the time when you were in trouble?
Keep it up before I give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
You got McDonald's money? Yep. I'm not one of your little friends. Give me your birthday money. I'll hold it for you. Oh my God. Where all my money at? Where all my damn money at? And you know what? Generational curses. Unfortunately, I did this to my own children.
So we're talking about what our parents said that has us in therapy now. Because I was listening to a podcast and I heard someone talking about things, common phrases that like parents said. And I'm like, have I said that to my children? I might need to think about that, because they were talking about like, you know, it's not good because of this, that, and the other. So that's what we're talking about today. But first, we have some big facts. I got some stats today. Only 25% of Black adults seek mental health treatment compared to 40% of white adults. Only 15% of Black adults received mental health treatment in the past year. And for those dealing with depression, just over half, like 56%, got the help that they needed compared to the nearly 70% of white adults. So that's a huge gap. And it's not because we don't need help, but it's about access, stigma, and trust. So first of all, there's not enough Black therapists. Only around 2% of psychologists in the U.S. are Black. Second, Black folks have a history of mistrust in the medical system due to things like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, where Black men were told that they were being treated for syphilis, but they weren't. They were really studying how the disease progressed.
Right.
And third, insurance is an issue. Nearly 10% of Black people in the U.S. don't have health insurance compared to 5.2% of non-Hispanic white people. So there are some consequences for us not getting the help that we need. Suicide is the third leading cause of death for Black youth ages 10 to 24. And while the overall suicide rate for Black Americans is lower than whites, the rate for Black men is rising fast, and it's more than 4 times higher than for Black women. But let's switch gears a little bit and talk about something that you might not know. Trauma can actually be passed down through families, like not just through stories or behaviors, but actually biologically. Scientific research shows that severe or chronic trauma can leave a mark on our DNA through a process called epigenetics. This means that the experiences of our grandparents, or even like racism, violence, loss, that can affect how our genes are expressed, which could influence our mental and physical health for generations. So epigenetic changes are trauma, or when trauma can cause chemical changes in the way that our genes function without altering the DNA sequence itself. Those changes can be passed from parents to children, affecting stress responses, mental health, and even risk for certain diseases. they've done some studies of children of trauma survivors, like Holocaust survivors or those who were exposed to war or violence. And they found similar biological markers like changes in stress hormone regulation in both generations. But the good news is that these epigenetic marks aren't necessarily permanent. Healing, supportive environments, and therapy can help reset some of these changes, showing that resilience can also be passed down. And that's the big facts.
Yeah. There's so much that I think about when it comes to epigenetics. To me, that's a whole nother conversation, but I love that you brought it up. I feel like one of the things that we've had to help us get through trauma, whether it's what's been imposed on us by society as a whole, our particular society, or whether it's from our own household that we grew up in, has been a connection to our spirituality. So those things helped us to remain strong. And within that context, however, was still the issue of, whatever you're going through, the Lord's going to fix it.
Right.
I think on a personal level that we get those tools for things to be fixed. And God allows those tools and uses us for those tools. We are the body. So we are the arms, hands, feet, head. We are all of that. We are the body. And so when it comes to the use of others, which we are community, those people that surround us are part of the body as well. And their role is to serve whatever they're called to do, because whatever we're called to do benefits not just ourselves, but those around us, which is why we need therapists, which is why medication is okay for our mental health. So whether it's medication, whether it is just going to seek out therapy, the reason that we are even having this conversation today is because it's a conversation we weren't having X amount of years ago.
True. This is so true.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, if anything, we were made to believe that if you did go see a therapist, or there are certain things that you just don't talk about, you just deal with it and accept it. And again, that plays a major part into who we are today and how we handle things and what's going on in the world, is because we don't talk about it. So I feel like as a parent, that was something that I did want to switch up, because I, kind of stepped out of my POV and was thinking about how I felt when certain things were said to me, or when there were certain situations. And instead of acting the same way that maybe, my parents or, an elder, treated, or, how they treated the situation, I wanted to do it differently to see, just in case, if it would produce a more positive outcome. Because again, I remember how I felt in that moment when I was younger. So I agree with, therapy. I agree with, if you need to be on a med, do a med. Just try it out just to see, because the world needs more mentally capable people, especially people of color. I want to bring up old Orange Boy, but, we got to make sure we're on top of, who we are, and also battling whatever demons that we do have, internally, that's making us who we are today. See, note I said me. I was about to start preaching, baby. I was about to start preaching. You heard me? But yeah,
I totally agree. And I do think, KK, that epigenetics could be like a whole other topic, but I kind of brought it in because I feel like maybe in our community that the reason that some of the things are said is because our ancestors went through some stuff and, it passed down through generations, that trauma, because I feel like in the past, like, discipline was for safety reasons in our community.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, our kids couldn't be out there acting a fool because that could have, I mean, I guess technically still today, but not to the extent that it was back then. You know, look at a white woman and get lynched. So,
Right.
you know, they had to be strict disciplinarians, and, you know, their kids had to behave. You know, I think some of that is passed down.
It's definitely passed down. And for that reason specifically, because I remember my mom saying, if I tell you to do something in the moment, don't ask no questions. If I say jump, just jump. You can ask, you know, questions later. You can ask how high later, but just jump, because you never know why I'm telling you something.
Right.
And I'll never forget that. She was like, don't ask, just do it.
I've even adapted with my youngest. How many times should it take? You know, and that right there, she'll just say, one time. Okay, so if you know that you're supposed to have, you know, this done, then do it. And that's just solely still holding them to, you know, whatever it is when it comes to discipline, with them understanding that when I'm telling you to do something, I am coming from a place to where this is something that you're supposed to do. Okay. And then I'm not telling you to do something. I can see if I'm out here telling you to do something bad. No, ma'am. This is me teaching you. So when you know you have chores, now, baby, now if you want chores like we had them, baby, you'll have that whole house clean top to bottom, because that's what we did. Okay. And I'm okay to say this because y'all can't call defects on my mama. Considering as old as I am now and I have my own adult children. But if my mama told you to clean that room and she come and check and that room ain't clean, I don't know if she just waited until 1 o'clock in the morning to come check, or that was just her cue. But she'll come in there, and baby, if that room wasn't clean, she'll flip that bed over. I remember that last time, baby, I was hanging on the mattress, half asleep, like, oh, I'm gonna do it. Yes, ma'am. Baby. And that was it. That means, hey, I ain't trying to get woke up again, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean it. And then with me cleaning my room, it got to the point to where I wanted to clean it the way I wanted to. I wanted to organize the way I want to organize. And it started making me feel like, okay, taking pride in my space. Like, this is something I'm supposed to do. So everything ain't bad. Because, you know, one thing I feel like we're going to have somebody be like, oh, we're black parents, and they were just horrible. Sometimes, I don't know about yours, but with mine, everything wasn't bad. They did it for a reason.
Yeah.
So
they did it for a reason, that part.
They did it for
there's some stuff that sent me into therapy.
Yes. Now, I ain't taking up for
everything, but I will say that
yeah.
I know you're not taking up for the bad stuff, but what I am saying is that, like my dad, one of his, and what he did, the way he woke my brother up, because I used to just get up because I didn't want to hear the negativity, but my dad would be like, it's time to get up. And, you know, waking up to a whole bunch of fussing and, you know, saying stuff like, well, why didn't you do this? Or why did you? I just woke up. You know what I mean? And I know my brother was going through. And then one of his favorite phrases, when we got in trouble, was the older you get, the dumber you get. And I was oh no. I was like, no, that is awful. And so we got older and we're able to laugh about it. But baby, I mentioned that in therapy a few times because you know, and again, I don't want to be preaching, but I got to preach this. Because when you think about what the parents do, parents, particularly fathers, you bless your children. And when you think about how Joseph was blessed by his father, you speak those blessings. It's the blessings that are spoken. So when you saying negative things, that's what you're speaking into. And my dad told me the other day, we was driving in the car. He said, oh, you gonna get a ticket? I said, don't be speaking no tickets on me, sir. Do not speak tickets on me. I rebuke and I reject your tickets.
I know that's right.
No, I'm just saying you got to reject those things. And when they come up, if they're coming up and it's painful and you feel pain behind it, even retroactively, you can reject it, baby. Reject it. Rebuke it, reject it, whatever you got to do. But I remember, even if I'm in a conversation with somebody and we're having a disagreement and they say something to me, look, they say whatever. And I'm like, I reject that. Keep on moving.
Yeah.
I reject that.
Mm-hmm. I think
so
with that, what you were saying when you were first starting up, you was talking about how their tone and how they talk to you, and they're first, especially first thing in the morning. You like, give me time, but you didn't talk back though. But I know that's what we're thinking. But again, that was a perfect example too, where I was saying, I remember how I felt when my mom did that or my, dad did that, which made me alter my parenting. So I had it to where I recognized that feeling, and then I could see that I kindly was doing that too. But I had to change up that energy, because what I was going through, that anger or whatever it is that was contributing to, I said, get up, y'all get up. No, it was me waking my children up, my girls, waking them up, saying good morning, talking to them like a regular conversation. Even my youngest, how you feel about today? You tired this morning? Oh, I understand you tired. It's rough, huh? Well, come on in here. You come get dressed with me, and then we can be rough, feel this way together, and hopefully we get out of it. To the point when we were listening to music, they were automatically, let me tell you, my oldest daughter, she got Frank Ocean blonde tattooed on her back, baby. She has to be the only African American woman with blonde tattooed on her back. That was her first tattoo. But I understand the significance of that, because when that album came out, that child played that every single morning, and it was so calm to where she had me listening to it. And then I saw how their days were compared to back then when it was chaotic in the mornings. When I was dropping them off at school, they was hugging each other. They was telling each other. I didn't have to tell them. They were telling each other they loved them. They would tell my youngest daughter when I dropped her off with her little book bag to have a good day. And they were giving her affirmations. And I was just like, this is amazing. Just starting off with that positivity. So just regrouping. Again, it ain't bad, because sometimes you got to remind them, I ain't one of your little friends. If that's regardless of how you raising them, you got to remind them, I ain't one of your little friends. I'm just providing you with the respect as a parent, and you're going to respect me being that I am your guardian and your protector. Okay. So I have to say, like, some of the things that we were subjected to, they were bad as hell. Okay. But again, it makes us, that's part of growing and becoming a parent. It makes us become better people, and that contributes to us. And y'all know I talk about this often, breaking generational curses. Okay. I mean, I feel like that plays a major part in how we're presenting and how we're raising people who we want to be better than us. So we got to make sure we're taking accountability, and we're playing a major role in that, in positivity and affirmation. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I think some of the stuff that our parents might have said, like, we didn't think anything about it when we were younger. It's just as you get older and you start trying to figure out, why am I like I am? You like, oh, my mama used to say this all the time, or my daddy used to do this all the time. Like, I think I have daddy issues or whatever. And then you start dissecting that stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, because, this is how this always went down or whatever.
At the end of the day, I think that, again, our parents is recognizing our parents also went through things. Okay. And again, because it was not, there wasn't psychiatrists and therapists available. Like, if anything, you were considered weak, like we said before. So if you have a parent that's looking at you and saying, I brought you in this world, I can take you out, baby. Nowadays, I'm calling the police. You need to tell me what Bell Spellman you want. Like, what were we doing? Because you need some counsel. That right there is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of, parents have said, and I can say that's something that I did not say because whenever I would hear her say that to my brother, I'm like, bro, you is wild. And that's how I knew, let me tell y'all something. That's how I knew my brother was bad as hell. When my mom could say stuff like that and he'll just be in his feelings one moment and then he'll turn around and be like, I do it again. And I'm like, why the hell would you do that again? Sir, Now, I know we have this big code, like we don't snitch on our siblings. That's one thing we didn't do. So when it came to certain things, I ain't snitch on him. But when I know a ass whooping was involved, oh no, brother. As they say, you are on your own, my brother. Because ain't nowhere in the world.
You on your own.
Ain't nowhere in the world. You are on your own, no brother.
For you.
Right.
Yep.
Do you remember what she told you last time? Like, you finna die. What are you doing? Like, just wash the dishes, man. Like, what are you doing? Pokemon, and come on again. It's a marathon. Just go on and wash them. What are you doing? So, yeah. I had to add that
it's
in
interesting. I was telling somebody at work, I said, oh, no, there's Black Parenting 101. You ain't familiar with that because you not Black. But there's Black Parenting 101. And I said part of that is when you get to the store, everybody hold hands, number one. And then we going in this store. You don't ask for nothing. Don't touch nothing. Yep. And we going to be in and out of here.
Yeah, I promise if I call my daughters right now and I'll tell them, hey, tell them what I used to say to y'all before we go in this store. They would tell you. I used to tell them when we get in the store, what did I used to say? Touch with your eyes. That's what I would say. You touch with your eyes. And they be sitting there laughing about it. But they were in there joking about it, whatever. But did they touch and pick up anything? Not at all. And that was just me revamping the parenting thing. Yeah, they made a joke about it, but that was me rapping. They knew. Man, she know what, man. She ain't finna get us nothing up out of here. But the good thing of that is, still, I knew what they wanted. They used to ask for the same stuff. I would still sneak and treat them and buy those type of things, when they did what they were supposed to do. But when we get in here, you touch with your eyes. There you go.
Yep.
Lisa, you mama of the century
right here is
over
making
here.
me want some McDonald's now because
no, they still bad.
McDonald's
no, they still bad.
Said, Mom, can we get some McDonald's? Can we
certain things? We had good moments.
I made a list of some things that I found that people were saying you shouldn't say to your kids, right? One of them, somebody mentioned, I don't remember who it was, stop crying or I'm going to give you something to cry about.
Yep.
Or,
I did say
telling them suck it up or whatever. Right? So what I found said this teaches children that expressing their emotions is dangerous and could lead to punishment. So it said that could lead to like emotional repression and like the child when they grow up having difficulty processing their feelings. It sends the message that their emotional pain is unacceptable and deserves discipline, potentially resulting in emotional suppression and anxiety.
Yeah.
So
wow.
That's
we
one.
need to break it down. We need a breakdown of all of this. We need to teach. See that when you say that to me? Yeah.
Another one, if you tell the kid, because I said so, like they're like, why we got to do this? Because I said so. It said that this phrase shuts down communication and encourages blind obedience. So while it may seem like a quick way to end a discussion, it can make a child feel unheard and disrespected.
Well, and it also silences them, and I feel like it allows them to have blind obedience to people that they cannot trust. Yeah. So it's one thing you can trust your parents, but it's another thing that is because I said so, and this is another adult that's not trustworthy. So that is concerning to me because I don't want to have blind obedience to everybody else.
Yeah. Right. I think with that, it is like we're as parents, they're not thinking of the big picture of the causes. And most importantly, when it comes to that particular saying or quote, it's more or less is trying to create that dominance and making sure that the kid is not talking back, but not acknowledging the big picture of what it actually really means. So,
yeah. So talking back in the day, talking back was like anything.
Baby, you look sideways and you can get popped. You heard me.
So think about how that could possibly like repress somebody sharing their thoughts and feelings and that kind of stuff. Another one, this is kind of nuanced because it's like, I'm not one of your little friends. I guess it says, while intended to emphasize the difference between parent-child relationship and a friendship, frequent use or emotional dumping by a parent can blur this line because it can cause a child to feel like an emotional support system. So if the parent is like sharing all their like emotions and dumping that load on the child, but then they say, well, I'm not one of your little friends. And it's kind of like,
I ain't never looked at it like that.
Right.
It says like that can negatively impact their emotional development as their brains are not yet equipped to handle such a burden. So they don't know how to process like the emotional dumping and things. And they don't know how to process like you telling me all your business and bringing me in this grown folk stuff that I probably shouldn't be in. But then, you're the parent, I'm the child.
Yeah.
You're not my friend or whatever. Another one. Oh, go ahead, KK.
Well, I was going to say, pick a struggle. Like either you're going to tell me all the things and have conversations with me, or you're not one of my little friends and don't tell me.
Ooh, you know what I wish I could have did? You know what I wish I could have did? If I was in a situation like that and they got to telling me all their business, I thought I was supposed to stay out of grown folks' business.
That part. Yeah.
That's on the list. We're going to get to that one.
Okay.
That part.
Well, the next one is better than that, which I'm probably guilty of saying that one. But it said that this can shame a child and question their integrity, potentially leading to self-doubt and defensiveness. It implies that their behavior is intentional defiance rather than exploring underlying causes like confusion or lacking skills. I don't know. That one's a little iffy.
Yeah, to me too. I think that is a little iffy as well. I don't know about that one.
Stay in a child's place where you don't pay no bills. While meant to remind a child of their position in the family, it can invalidate their opinions and silence their voice. It can lead to a sense of powerlessness and make a child feel unimportant in family decisions or like their opinions don't matter. Meh. Okay. Well, any final thoughts on this?
I think that, again, with parenting, nobody's perfect. And also with being a Black parent, an African-American parent, it is important that, like I said before, we look at the big picture. Now, we're not saying or telling anybody how to raise your child. If anything, just pay attention to what we're subjecting them to. And I guess if I can kind of just go ahead and throw out my call of action.
Go ahead.
My call to action to my people is if we really, really want our kids to be better than us, then we have to present them in a space to where they can be better. And we also have to make sure that mentally we are at peace, or we are at least attempting to be at peace. That way our children can understand there is an option for them to really, really be at peace.
Yeah, that's good. Do you have a piece for us, Lisa?
I want to share something really, really quick though. I was asked to be a part of a show. It was called the Creative Exchange. This was Saturday, July 18th, where I was a part of a show. I really, really wish KK really, really could have been a part of this show. because the positivity, the energy, when we got there, it was like real chill in the room. They had like a little small bar. They had where you can get they had Ethiopian coffee, different type of teas. They even sell teas. It's a place called the Bohemian Village, where the event was held. And it was so positive. I was able to, share a new piece that I wrote. And on top of that, for the first time, they had me do improv poetry with two other poets. And I have to say, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it because I was just like, I'm a poet. It comes with the territory or whatever. But the challenge of improv poetry and to be standing on stage with two other poets who are amazing, okay, and have the crowd feed you, topics and ideas, that was wild. So I can say that I unlocked a new, what's the word? A new, feature or a new whatever. Like it was really amazing. So Shannon, to answer your question, no, I don't have one. I did have something, but I feel like this is something that I want to try to throw off the top of the head and just see.
You got it, girl.
So I can say as a mom, it is the most rewarding thing. And to be an African American, very, very chocolate woman, I think it puts the icing on the cake. So much that my children can see that I am me, the energy that I produce. I am the true dessert. Out of all the meals that have been prepped for them over the years, I want them to understand and know just how, by the grace of God, with two strong people supporting them, that they can be anything. Amen.
I give you kudos, girl, because I cannot think on my toes like that.
Yeah, it was so fun, y'all. I'm going to try to post some more of the show on my Instagram. I do have some on my story, and I do want to say big shout out to Carla. Y'all, Carla is an amazing singer. Oh my God. And then on top of that, she brought more people who were, just as amazing as her. Hopefully I can bring some of them people on if y'all are okay with that, to present to them and hopefully have them. I was able to do something I normally don't do, which is networking. Y'all know I'm an introvert. I only talk here on the podcast, baby, out in the real world, baby. I'm an introvert. I don't talk. But I was, yeah. So, I was able to, talk to some people and the stories and some of the things that were shared. I think it's amazing. And then also, there was another gentleman. His name was Luke, who was also an amazing singer. He shared his story. So I feel like just by listening to them, they got something to talk about. So we'll see. We will see.
Maybe we can do like a spoken word special episode.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be nice. Yes.
If you're watching us, sorry, we're kind of struggle bussing over here. KK's been going in and out. I don't know what's happening. I'm about to kick her out of the recording so she can come back in.
Man, my internet's been wilding too. I don't know what's going on.
My camera was tripping. It's too much going on. All right, so Lisa already gave her call to action for the culture. I'm just going to go ahead and give mine. If KK comes back, we'll hear from her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling the culture to normalize growth. So I think it's okay to get help when you need it. You don't have to be what your mama or your daddy was. You don't have to continue the trauma that you grew up in. Normalize therapy. Normalize having honest healing conversations. Here's KK. Especially normalize having healing conversations with the people that you love. I think we have to learn to be vulnerable. I'm learning myself, but I think that we've had to protect ourselves for generations. So I feel like it's kind of hard to be vulnerable, but I think that vulnerability with the people that you care about is needed in order to build stronger connections and relationships. So that is my call to action for the culture. KK, I know that you were having some connection issues. Do you have a call to action for the culture?
I still am having connection issues. My call to action for the culture is pretty simple. It is to remember to speak life into and blessings upon those who are coming after you, those who you run into, because you don't know what's been spoken over their lives. So remember that spelling, it's called spelling for a reason. And that which you speak manifests. And so be sure to be cognizant of what you are speaking over those around you and we are responsible for.
All right. Well, hopefully, if you're still listening, it's because you enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
So we're asking you to click that plus in Apple Podcast or that subscribe button in YouTube to make sure that you keep getting these episodes. We also love hearing what you love about the show. Leave us a comment, leave us a review.
Better yet, tell us what your mom and daddy said to you. I'm
Right.
curious. Let's talk about it.
I want to know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until we meet again.
First of all, I want to just go ahead and say, due to the topic, if somebody hit you, you hit them back. That's never going to change. Okay? And king and queens, y'all keep doing big things. Let's go.